Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we're gonna be reacting to
Overhyped sophomore albums that flopped.
who's gonna be on this
Not every
list.
artist can maintain momentum after a strong debut. They fail to live up to expectations on their second album. That phenomenon is known as the sophomore slump. In this video, we look at 8 overhyped sophomore
Vanessa Carlton makes these lists a lot.
albums that flopped.
Same. Oh, Leona
Echo by
Lewis.
Leona Lewis.
Oh. To be honest, I only know one song by her, so I think makes sense.
Leona Lewis was the X Factor UK's biggest success story, breaking global records with her debut album Spirits in 2007, which included the mega hit Bleeding Love, topping the Billboard Hot 100 for 4 weeks. With Simon Cowell's backing, her sophomore album Echo was positioned to become even bigger. The album featured grand ballads and big budget production from Brian Tedder, Max Martin, and Justin Timberlake. However, despite high expectations, Echo failed to
And now we know who Max Martin is.
capture the same magic as Spirit, both critically and commercially. One of the biggest issues with the album was its lack of a defining hit. The lead single Happy was an emotional ballad in the vein of Bleeding Love, but it didn't connect in the same way. While the song performed decently in the UK, peaking at number 2, it flopped in the US, failing to crack the Hot 100's top 30. Other singles like I Got You also struggled.
I wonder why.
I don't know.
She worked with the best.
I wouldn't consider that a flop though. Like for example, now we react to Billboard and we see like Glorilla. What's that song? What's her song that's on the chart right now?
Just multiple
Hair,
songs.
face, ass, titties, whatever that song.
Sorry.
What is that song?
You brought up the reference, so you're gonna
Whatever. Okay, so that song, I don't think it breached 30. It's like around like 40 to 60s, like kind of hopping there. I wouldn't consider that song a flop. I think that's a good song. You know.
Maybe I think because it also held its position too for a long time. I don't know how long this was there
True, that matters. You're right. Yeah, because if you pops to like 31
and gone.
and then gone next week, yeah, that matters.
Struggled to gain traction. The commercial disappointment of Echo had lasting consequences for Leona's career. In the UK, the album debuted on number 1, but sales were significantly lower than Spirit. In the US, it peaked on number 13, selling 69,000 units in its first week, a big decline from her debut, which sold
That's
more than
not
200,000 copies in its first week. Without a major crossover hit, Leona's presence in the American market faded. Despite being a beautifully sung album, Echo is often remembered as the moment Leona Lewis's superstar trajectory stalled.
Aww.
The Pains of Growing by Alessia Cara. Alessia Cara's debut album Know It All in 2015 made
I
her a
think we
rising
saw
star.
that.
Why do I know her? I know her name from somewhere.
I think because we saw her in these type of videos before.
With hits like Here and Scars to You're Beautiful, she was celebrated for her introspective songwriting and relatable
think 'cause
persona,
her style
earning
was so
comparisons
different.
to Early Lord, and even winning a Grammy for Best New Artist in 2018. Naturally, her sophomore album, The Pains of Growing, was expected to cement her status as a pop powerhouse. Unfortunately, that did not happen. The album saw Alessia maturing, but it lacked the catchy and radio-friendly singles that made her debut a success. The lead single, Growing Pains, failed to gain traction on the charts, peaking at a disappointing number 65 on the Billboard Hot 100. Other singles like Trust My Lonely and Out of Love barely made an
that
impact.
sucks.
They just didn't connect with
Wow.
her fans. Without a strong hit to carry the project, The Pains of Growing struggled
Do
commercially.
you think,
It did
like, after you make your first album, the second album, what do you think the style has to be? Similar to your first album or something completely out the box?
If the first one was a success, I'd stick to the first one. I don't think
Who's an example can you think of like that?
that stick.
Similar, yes, sticks to the same process. Because do you think like maybe
Anybody successful? Drake, Eminem.
because what I think what happens is that they do like 100 songs, maybe 15 makes it in the first, and then they're like part of the same DNA a little bit, and they carry on to their second album.
I feel like artists start experimenting later in their career. I don't think they experiment like so early. I think maybe they do the same. They're like, okay, I'm running out of ideas with this touch. Let me try something else. I would think so. I don't know.
So I wonder what was the formula for their second album. How? Because I think for her, for Alessia, her second album was completely different from the first. Because the first was very catchy, very edgy, and this one was like very different. I guess she tried to show up like a more
Yeah,
mature
I
side
think
for
that's when the albums flop is when you drop
different
something completely
identity.
different than you because you do have certain like if this is a sophomore album, you're gonna have a certain fan base already. So if that fan base, if the album is not gonna resonate with that fan base, well, it's not. Well, back then I guess there was no algorithms, so it's a little different. But nowadays, algorithm wouldn't even push it because even your fan base is not streaming, so nobody's streaming it. We just die.
Debuted on number 71 on the Billboard 200, a huge drop from the top 10 peak of Know It All. The lack of a promotional push from her label, and an overall shift in pop music at the time, made it even harder for the album to gain momentum. Joyride by Tinashe. Tinashe's debut album Aquarius in 2014 built up her buzz as R&B's next big thing. 2 On became her first big hit, peaking at number 24 on the Billboard Hot 100. It was clear.
So how 24 is a big hit and 31 is a flop? Because Leona Lewis got 31. Oh, it flopped. 24 is a big hit. I get it. 2 On was a big hit, to be fair. It was.
Maybe it was on the radio longer. I don't know.
That she had the potential to become a huge star, and there was a lot of hype for her follow-up album. However, Joyride became a disappointment. Originally intended for release in 2015, it got delayed a lot of times because of conflicts with her label RCA. By the time the album finally dropped in 2018, the momentum behind her name had faded.
Yeah, that's
unfair.
That shouldn't be on this list. That's just 4 years. Yeah, people forgot about her. Yeah, it is what it is.
The album itself felt disjointed. Singles like No Drama and Faded didn't click with mainstream audiences.
But
and the title
maybe
track,
that's not a good enough
originally meant for
excuse because as you can see, like Cardi B, even though we haven't gotten a second album from her, and there's a lot of pressure for her second album, she's still been in her face.
Yeah, but how do you know her second album is not gonna flop?
Well, that's gonna be a determining factor. It seems like for her, if people forgot her, and I believe so too, because I think after 2 On 1, I don't know how many other songs that she was on in between that from her second drop.
Because Cardi, it's about to be a decade. Since
honestly, I would wait till 10 years. Now it's too early. I don't think she should drop it now. I think she should wait 10 years.
That's a little random. It's been what, 2018?
Because now it's gonna be random.
2018 it dropped?
I think
so
so.
7 years. That's so
no,
random,
I don't think
man.
you should drop it at 7. I think you should make people wait 3 more years. Might as well.
To make an impact. Fans who had been waiting years.
The only thing I would say, she has like so many not solo, but like so many singles at this point since the album. Don't make an album where an album is all the previous singles plus 3 new songs. That would be real bad. Like if you're going to
do that.
If you're gonna do an album like couple singles from before and all the new songs, because
for Joyride were given a project that didn't live up to expectations. Tinashe later said that she felt creatively stifled by the process, saying that the album didn't fully represent her vision. Commercially, the album was a disaster, debuting on number 58 on the Billboard 200 and quickly disappearing from the charts. It became one of the biggest sophomore slumps, effectively killing her momentum. However, it did push her to go independent, where she has since regained creative control and revived her career. The flop was a blessing in disguise. Harmonium by Vanessa Carlton. Vanessa Carlton became an instant star with her debut album Be Not Nobody in 2002, thanks to
I see a lot of one-hit wonders on this list though.
Massive success of 1,000 Miles. The song was everywhere, from radio to
Tinashe
movie
was not a
soundtracks.
one-hit
It has
wonder,
stood the test of time, as it is now a certified classic. With that level of fame, expectations for her second album, Harmonium, were very high. Instead of playing it safe with another radio-friendly piano pop anthem, she took a more artistic route. The result was a darker, more introspective album that was sonically more interesting, but lacked the immediate hooks of her debut. Despite strong critical reviews, Harmonium struggled commercially. The lead single, White Houses, was reportedly blacklisted by MTV and some radio stations because it was too sexual. Without major radio support, the album failed to take off, peaking on number 33
went really
on the
artsy
Billboard 200
fartsy.
and quickly disappearing from the charts. In contrast, Be Not Nobody had gone platinum, while Harmonium barely made a dent. The album's underperformance led to Vanessa parting ways with her label, forcing her to become independent for the rest of her career. In hindsight, Harmonium was an underrated album, but at the time, it was a major commercial disappointment that derailed her mainstream career.
Los deliciosos coconut shrimp han regresado.
Ooh, a coconut shrimp.
Pollo Tropical. Kesha.
Warrior by Kesha. After the
Kesha
overwhelming
not a
success
one-hit
of
wonder
Cannibal,
either. She
Miss
has a couple
Companion
songs.
Cannibal, which spawned huge hits like TikTok, We Are Who We Are, and Blow, Kesha seemed unstoppable. Her party girl persona and electropop anthems dominated the charts, making her one of the biggest pop stars of the early 2010s. However, when it came time to release her second full-length studio album, Warrior, things didn't go as planned. The album's lead single, Die Young, started strong, peaking at number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100, but it was pulled from radio playlists following the Sandy Hook school shooting in December 2012, as its lyrics talked about living fast and dying young, which was insensitive at the time. This impacted the song's longevity, and the album suffered as a result.
Is that the Live Fast, Die Young, Bad Girls Do It Well? Is that the song? No?
The follow-up singles, Come On and Crazy Kids, didn't do much on the charts, and the album itself peaked at number 6 on the Billboard 200, selling 86,000 copies in its first week, a big drop compared to Animal, which debuted at number 1. Behind the
It
scenes,
may be considered controversial to what's going on.
Well-
we only have seen that in the K-pop world.
They can pull it for whatever reason they want to. They don't need a reason, to be fair. I guess not, because they would get sued.
We only seen that in K-pop.
Yeah, no, I guess they could pull. They would get sued if you just pull it for. Hmm. I don't know. It's so interesting. I would wonder legally how that makes
The
sense.
pressure.
Because I honestly I see both sides. One argument is like, oh, it's a private entity. They play whatever they want to play, right? But
Because I'm trying to think of other songs they do that too here.
Kanye, I don't know. He's
I
all the
don't
shit he's
know.
been saying. I'm pretty
I don't
sure
know if
he's
they-
like blacklisted.
I don't know.
Scenes, Kesha was
I don't know.
not happy with the direction of the album, as her producer Dr. Luke
Although I do believe, like, I heard Gold Digger on the radio not too late ago. I don't know.
pushed her towards the same party pop sound, while she wanted to experiment with rock influences. Ultimately, Warrior failed to live up to the hype, and Kesha's career took a major hit. It wouldn't be until years later, after a legal battle with Dr. Luke, that she would successfully rebrand herself with Rainbow in 2017. Endlessly by
yes,
Duffy.
she was
Duffy's
there
rock-
before Adele, and she was that girl before Adele. But then Adele took that spot. She didn't stand a chance.
Berry in 2008 was an undeniable success, earning her comparisons to Amy Winehouse and Adele while producing the global hit Mercy. The album sold over 7 million copies, won a Grammy, and established Duffy as one of the UK's most promising new stars. Naturally, expectations were high for her sophomore album Endlessly, released in 2010. However, the album failed to capture the magic of her debut. Instead of sticking to the retro sound that made her famous, Endlessly leaned into more polished pop. The lead single Well 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 featuring The Roots failed to gain traction, not even charting on the Hot 100. And peaking at number 41 on the UK singles chart. Without a strong
Yeah,
hit
that's
single,
low.
Endlessly struggled to sell, peaking at number 9 in the UK and number 75 in the US, a massive drop from the multi-platinum success of Rock Fairy. The commercial failure of the album had long-term consequences for Duffy's career. Following the album's flop, she disappeared from the music industry, later revealing in 2020 that she had stepped away because of
She
personal
almost
trauma,
reminds
while
me of
Endlessly
Reese
was a complete
Witherspoon a little bit.
Yeah, I can see it.
disaster. It was a sharp decline from her debut, and unfortunately, it is still her final album to date. Truth to Self by Bryson Tiller. After the success of his debut album Trap Soul, Bryson Tiller was one of the hottest names in R&B. His moody sound, blending trap beats with R&B, gave a name to a new genre and earned him a devoted fanbase. Singles like Don't and Exchange became defining songs of the mid-2010s. The hype for his second album, True to Self, was through the roof, with many expecting it to cement him as one of the new faces of R&B. Instead, it turned into a disappointment. One of the biggest issues from the album was its lack of standout moments. Where Trap Soul felt fresh and innovative, True to Self came off as uninspired and repetitive. It felt more like a redo of his debut rather than an evolution.
Well,
Even though
so
the
that's kind of goes back to our discussion earlier. He tried to follow the same thing, and it was too
nope.
close.
He
So
said nope.
yeah, so like it can't be too close,
It's
but
really
it can't be too
random.
far. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's tough as an artist, you know. You never know what people gonna like.
The album debuted on number 1 on the Billboard 200. Its success was short-lived. Fans and critics were lukewarm on the project, and it quickly lost momentum, dropping in sales and streaming numbers. Unlike Trap Soul, which had a lasting impact, True to Self came and went. He later admitted in interviews that he wasn't fully confident with the album, and that it impacted his love for music.
Oh, wow.
Live Life Fast by Roddy Ricch.
Well, after the
Roddy
box,
Ricch had one of
he
the
was
biggest
like at the top, so a lot of pressure for your second.
Yeah, that's.
breakthroughs in recent rap history, with his debut album Please Excuse Me for Being Antisocial, which was released at the end of 2019. Thanks to the box going viral and spending 11 weeks on number 1, Roddy was positioned as the next big rap superstar. His melodic flow and catchy hooks made him a unique force in hip-hop, and expectations for his
So do you think he's a one-hit wonder?
I don't know. I don't know where he happened to him now.
Well, I guess he can still possibly drop another hit, but as it stands right now, I don't think he has like another hit.
He's collabed with other artists. I wouldn't consider him one hit.
sophomore album Live Life Fast were sky high. Unfortunately, it became a textbook example of a sophomore slump. The biggest problem with the album is its lack of identity. While his debut album had a clear balance of introspective tracks and bangers, Live Life Fast felt directionless. The lead single Late at Night did moderately well, but it wasn't enough to carry the project. Commercially, the album debuted on number 4 on the Billboard 200, a steep drop from the huge success of his first album. Critically, it received mixed reviews, with many calling
Steep drop? Number 4 is a steep drop? I mean, in numbers, maybe it's a big drop, but in position-wise, that number 4 is good.
it bland and forgettable. Since then, Roddy has lost his momentum and has been trying to revive it in recent years. Which Overhyped Sophomore album
Interesting list.
Wow.
I like
Flop
this
did I
list.
miss?
This list was a little different. It wasn't predictable. Not something, because
Yeah.
oftentimes these lists we can kind of predict. This one, that's interesting. I didn't know none of these.
Guys, of course, let us know your thoughts. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Join the Discord, and as always, share as much kindness as possible.